Try to tell y'all. Monday. Things were happening on Monday. Things are going on behind the scenes. And it was just announced, in my opinion, what was kind of shocking, that Nebraska, Matt Rule, have fired first-year defensive coordinator John Butler effective immediately. He's no longer in Lincoln in any position whatsoever. He will go try to find a new job in Nebraska, will now be in search for a brand new defensive coordinator over these past couple weeks and what will be likely a very long, tedious process to find the best defensive coordinator money can buy. Let's talk about it. There's a lot to digest because this was a surprise. Because like we've talked about, we talked about this yesterday on the channel. I told you guys I kind of thought that John Butler's going to stay. I've heard some rumblings about some other coaches. And again, trust me when I say this, more's happening. More will be coming very, very soon. Again, Matt Rule has not been very happy recently. Again, we talk all the time about how mad the fan base was about this season. Oh, the fan base was really mad the season didn't go the way we planned. Well, imagine how Matt Rule feels, because I think a lot of people were like, well, Matt Rule clearly didn't care that much. Matt Rule wanted this season to go as well as anybody. Matt Rule was talking to these players, to the coaching staff in the offseason. He told them, we are going to make the college football playoffs. That's what he was telling these people. So when that didn't happen, when we weren't even in the mix to make the playoffs, of course he was going to make change, because he knows now, for the first time in Matt Rule's career, his job is literally on the line. It is on the line. Okay, because this next defensive coordinator job will literally determine the rest of his career. If you hire another guy like John Butler, completely inexperienced, who is in over his head, Matt Rule will be fired here. That's just the unfortunate reality. Okay, this is the most important hire of Matt Rule's tenure, and it isn't even particularly close. But we'll talk about that. I want to start off discussing John Butler, though, because right off the bat, I'm frustrated that Matt Rule hired John Butler in the first place. Like, we were not very happy about the hire when it happened. Obviously, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, like, that was a bad hire because he had no experience. The only other times he's been defensive coordinators was at Penn State a decade ago and he got fired. You know, he's been the NFL as a secondary coach, and sure, he was okay there, but some secondary coaches aren't meant to be coordinators. They're not meant to be defensive coordinators. And it was clear with John Butler, he was way over his head from the very get-go. We're talking about a guy here who never recruited for Nebraska pretty much ever. Okay. Like, I'm going to get questions. Well, Wilson, are we going to get any decommitments because of this? Guarantee we're not. No decommitments because of John Butler leaving. Like, the recruits probably don't care. Like, I'm not to act like John Butler never recruited, but he wasn't a focal point of recruiting. So he didn't really recruit much. His game plan was horrific. Not only his, but Matt Rule's, yes. But let me ask you right now, when was there ever a time where Nebraska looked prepared? Where's there ever a time where you looked at Nebraska's defense and said, oh, they look really prepared. They look ready to go? That never happened. That was never the case, ever. Nebraska was never prepared. We gave up 40 points to Iowa, for crying out loud. Iowa, at home. That's embarrassing. We got blown out by Penn State. That's embarrassing. We got blown out by Minnesota. That's embarrassing. So we're talking about a defensive coordinator here who didn't check any boxes. He didn't recruit. He didn't adjust. He didn't game plan. We know he didn't develop. Like, let me ask you, how many players in the defense got better from last year to this year? Name a couple. Okay. Vincent Shavers, did he really get any better? No. Like, Sia Wright probably got better. Okay, that's one. Did Marcus Buford get better? No. Did Herzog get better? No. Did any player on the defensive line get better? No. Even like Deshaun McCullough, who came in here as this, super raw prospect with super high upside, be a future NFL, like he's a freak athlete. Deshaun McCullough never lived up to expectations, thanks to John Butler. So what did John Butler do well? I mean, the secondary was good. I think the secondary was really good. I'm not going to lie. But that's expected. He was the secondary coach coming in. The secondary was supposed to be good. His blitz concepts were terrible. Okay, we would blitz 6 and we still couldn't get pressure. How is that even possible? Like, that's the main thing. When we were talking about when we were talking about John Butler originally getting hired, I told you guys, like, I'm going to judge his hire based on his blitz concepts, because that's the main job of the defensive coordinator. If you can't free up an edge rush, you can't free up a DB to get open and potentially get to the quarterback unblocked, you're not doing anything. And same to what about Tony White. He knew how to get those guys unblocked. He knew how to get those blitz concepts going. Same deal with even Eric Shenander. Even Eric Shenander did that. So what could John Butler do? Nothing. But I will say this, the reason why I'm surprised about this is objectively, was the defense good this year? It wasn't. The defense was objectively not that good. However, the offense was worse. Even with Raiola in the football game, the offense was worse. We're talking about the same offense, that barely put up points against Minnesota, barely put up points against Cincinnati, that had 3 interceptions versus Maryland that needed a game-winning drive to be one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. We're talking about an offense that had no vertical passing attack all year long, with multiple regressions in there, with Dane, Jacory, Barney, Nyziah Hunter, and he was all right. So the reason why I was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to happen, because if you fire John Butler, what are you going to do about Dana? Because that's a bad look for Matt Rule. That is a bad look. Like I respect Matt Rule for making this decision. I respect Matt Rule for making the tough decision to get rid of John Butler. That's a good call. But what are you going to say to the critics who are like, Matt, look at the offensive coordinator. Dana's not much better. And or you could argue that Dana's complacent, because Dana's not going to be a head coach ever again, more likely than not. Dana's probably not searching for that. Dana's probably just okay with being an OC for the rest of his life. You could argue with him having that mindset, he's complacent, that he's not really looking to improve any further, that he's not really going all in like maybe he used to. So there's a big question mark on our offensive coordinator spot. Now, however, I'm here to report today. I'm here to report, and I can tell you this with full certainty, and trust me when I say this, that Dana Holgorsen will be here next year. So there are no question marks there. Dana Holgorsen will be here. He's not entertaining phone calls, and Matt Rule has made it very clear to him that we're not firing you. We're going to run it back, and you're here next year. So Dana Holgorsen will be here. But I think it's a pretty horrific. It's a pretty horrific look. It's a pretty horrific look if you're keeping Dana here and you're getting rid of John. Even though both those guys weren't very good, they weren't very good. Yeah, but you know what? Kudos to Matt Rule, because all the time we talked about on the channel how this man does not make tough decisions. We have the worst offensive coordinator in the history of the program. Last year, Mark Satterfield, what did he do? Demoted him. Worst special teams coordinator in the history of the program, Ed Fuller, what did he do? Demoted him. Matt Rule has never made any tough decisions to the guy here. So I really doubted if he was going to do it or not. And honestly, there's still a lot of speculation behind the scenes that this wasn't fully Matt Rule's decision, that maybe the administration, the boosters kind of forced him to do that. I'll buy into that. I think there's a very real possibility that maybe, somebody forced Matt Rule to do this, but I respect him nonetheless for doing it. But I will say this, now it's go time. Now we have to hire the best defensive coordinator money can buy. No excuses. There are no excuses anymore. I don't want a coordinator who has Matt Rule experience, because that's what Matt Rule constantly does. He goes back to his Temple and Baylor days, and he says, well, who was with me at those stops? Who was a grad assistant over there? Who was a secondary coach over there? Who was a D-line coach? I'm going to hire them. We're not doing that this time. I want a coach right off the bat who has never coached with Matt Rule before. Number 2, I want a coach who is young, energetic, and has aspirations of being a future head coach. And you might ask me, why would you want that, Wilson? Don't we want, a veteran defensive coordinator who's maybe 60 years old, who only wants to be a defensive coordinator for the rest of his career? Well, the reason why I don't want that is because, again, you could argue that coach is going to be complacent. You could argue that coach isn't going to be fully bought in. Okay, Phil Parker's just don't walk around every now and then. I would prefer a 40-year-old innovative defensive coordinator who's at the top of his game, who's still getting better, who wants to be a head coach. Because that's the Nick Saban philosophy. Go back to when Nick Saban was at Alabama. Nick Saban never got these, 67-year-old coordinators. That was never what he did. He would get up-and-comer coaches who are at the top of their game, who are innovative, because Nick Saban always wanted to surround himself with the best. And you get innovative coaches. And yeah, they might be gone a couple years, but that's the sport. You can't expect to have coaches stay here for 20 years as coordinators. That's not realistic. Okay, what happened with T.O. back in the day, having all these coordinators all the time, again, that's not realistic. What happens with, Kirk Ferentz, that's not realistic. What is realistic is only having coordinators for 5 years, 2 years. It's either they leave because they want to leave or because they get fired. So I want a young up-and-comer defensive coordinator with no Matt Rule connections. And you know what? I want somebody who's a great recruiter, who's energetic, and also no Nebraska connections. That's what I want. I know there's going to be people who you say, well, we got to hire this certain coordinator who's Nebraska, with Bo Pelini, Frank Solich, Bill Callahan. Oh, this guy's Nebraska connections. This guy's from the state of Nebraska. No, let's not do that. Am I saying all Nebraska candidates are disqualified? No. But I'm saying we're not going to hire a coach just because they've been here before or because they were raised in this state. You hire a coach based on their merit alone, in their experience. And I'm looking at least 10 years of experience. At least 10. Okay, not somebody who's, an up-and-comer DB coach out of Syracuse or an up-and-comer D-line coach from Texas A&M. No, you get somebody with a track record who's been a defensive coordinator at the highest level in the NFL and the Big Ten, SEC. I don't care. And if you got to go poach somebody, do it. Do it. If you got to go poach somebody, do it. If you got to go to Mississippi State, poach somebody, do it. If you got to go to Illinois, poach somebody, do it. Pay top dollar. And I mean $2-3 million. Make them the assistant coach. I don't care. Make them assistant head coach. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. But again, this will quite literally define Matt Rhule's tenure here. It quite literally will. If you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you. This is more important than our special teams coordinator hire last year. This is more important than hiring Dane last year. If you hire some bum just because you feel great about his upside, then you're going to get burnt against Ohio State next year, Oregon next year, Illinois next year, Indiana next year. That's a real schedule. And we'll win 5 games. But if Matt Rhule has the stones to go all in, I mean, put all in, your chips on the table. Say, you know what? I'm all in, Bangtella. I'm all in. The casino. And you go get the best defensive coordinator money can buy. Kudos to you. Kudos. And there's one guy kind of my eyes out for. I'm not going to lie to you. Jim Knowles. That guy I want. I want Jim Knowles. Now, that might not be realistic to some, but that man has a track record at Oklahoma State, Ohio State, Penn State. Now, you could argue he's not the top of his coaching career anymore. You could argue he's not the best recruiter anymore. So he's kind of going against my philosophy. But if we're talking about pen to paper, production, get the best out of your guys, I want Jim Knowles because he ain't going to be there at Penn State. You better believe that. You better believe that. And people put in other names. Like I already see Jim Leonard in the chat. You know, Jim Leonard's a good hire. I wouldn't mind him. Like we'll talk about tomorrow. I will do my research, my due diligence tonight. And we will have a video tomorrow morning talking about all our candidates. But I want to make this very clear. Do not hire somebody just because they have Nebraska connections. Do not. Do not. Because if you do, and if you aren't all in with this decision, we know what this means for Matt Rhule. This defensive coordinator hire is more important than whoever we're going to hire with the offensive line coach, whoever we're going to hire with the D-line coach. Maybe even bring my boy Tony White back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Do not bring Tony White back. Even though I kind of like Tony White wasn't bad. I think Tony White was overhated. He was overhated. And trust me when I tell you Tony White was a better man and a better defensive coordinator than John Butler ever was. Trust me when I tell you that. But let's celebrate this moment, you know? This is cause for celebration. We have a head coach who said, you know what? Done with being soft. Done with avoiding confrontation. I'm going to make a hard, maybe even controversial decision. And he fired John Butler today. He didn't have to do that. He could have rolled in next year with John Butler. He could have rolled in next year with all the same coaches. But he said, you know what? This year was not good enough. 7 wins is not good enough. And that's what I told you guys 2 days ago. I told you guys this year's a failure. This was a failure of a year. This was a failure of a year. Having 7 wins with this easy of a schedule was a failure. And if you think it wasn't, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, sure, it was up. It was, you know, we're going on an upper trajectory, technically speaking. Technically. But with this easy of a schedule, losing to Minnesota, losing to Iowa, that's a failure. It is. Not being a team with a winning record outside of Cincinnati, that's a failure. And Matt Rhule understands that more than anybody else. We know how to tell that to Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule knows this year was a failure. Now, again, you could argue this wasn't Matt Rhule's choice. You could argue the administration forced him to do that. You could argue this, that, and the third. I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. Matt Rhule is the one who signed the papers. And Matt Rhule said, you know what, we're tired of this. That's cause for celebration right there, folks. But again, this defense was absolutely horrific. It was an embarrassment to the state of Nebraska. And I also will tell you this, to all the people who say, well, we just need to give these coaches time. They've only been here for 1 year. They've only been here for a couple months. That's never an excuse anymore. Okay, this is college football, like it or not. You really only have 1 year, maybe 2 years. But with the transfer portal, with NIL, if you don't bring the best out of your position, your side of the football, you will be gone. No excuses asked. So that falls on Terry Braden. He's only been here for 1 year. I heard from a million Nebraska fans, oh, he's only been here for 1 year. We should keep him. We don't know. No, Terry Brady needs to be next. He needs to be next. The defensive line falls on him. Donovan Raiola also needs to be next. He's been here for 4 years. Now, that's a really tough decision. That's a really tough decision. And there's already reports that, oh, maybe Dylan Raiola is going back on his word. Maybe Dylan wants to come back. Okay, even if Dylan comes back, we still need to get rid of his uncle. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. You can't go back in your word now because Dylan suddenly might have a change of opinion. Okay. So trust me when I tell you, I have confidence in Matt Rule for this to not be the last big decision he makes. I have trust in Matt Rule to say, you know what, this is just the beginning. Now, this isn't the end. This is the beginning. There will be more coaches who are fired. There will be more coaches who are demoted. It will be a completely new staff and team next year. And by the way, we will have a new team. There will be, like we posted earlier today, my predictions on who's going to leave. Like, there will be some big-time players who leave. There might be some players you like who are going to leave. Whether that's a quarterback, a player in the secondary, a offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I know there's not a lot of those players people love, but there might be a player you like who's gone. There might be a player who you don't like who's gone. It doesn't matter. This will be a brand new team next year, like it or not, with maybe a brand new quarterback. Because Nebraska knows this is not good enough. What we saw this year was not good enough. What we saw on Friday in the Heroes game versus Iowa was not good enough. And Matt Rule is not going to be average. I know that's the narrative right now. Everybody's like, well, maybe Matt Rule is okay with being average. You might think that, and you might think Matt Rule is an average coach. I'm kind of on the same train with you. I think that's a pretty reasonable take. It's a pretty reasonable take to believe that Matt Rule is maybe an average coach, but he doesn't want to be average. He's not okay with being average. And when I tell you this, that Matt Rule will do whatever it takes to be elite, he will. That's one thing you can take to the bank. Despite everybody's concerns about him, you can take that to the bank that Matt Rule will do whatever it takes. And if it means firing somebody, he gonna do it. If it means getting rid of a player, he gonna do it. If it means going crazy with the NIL money, he gonna do it. Like it or not. So John Butler's gone. John Butler's gone. Heck of a move. And again, I also want to make this very clear. In times like this, it's really easy to go at John Butler personally. You know what? John Butler, I wish you the best of luck, my man. You didn't work here. Very clearly, you didn't work here. But I wish you the best of luck. Wherever you're going to go, might go back to the NFL, might go back to college football. You never know. He go get another job for sure. He's not going to be defensive coordinator again, but he go get another job. So, good luck. Good luck. This is what I tell John Butler. It's not personal. This is a business. This is coaching. You know, and when you are coaching, it is a public business, and you deserve the praise publicly, and you also deserve the criticism publicly. And if you didn't want to have that happen, you shouldn't have gotten into coaching, right? If you didn't want to be publicly criticized, you shouldn't have gotten into coaching. That's why when people go at me, they're like, "Well, so why are you calling this coach?" Well, why wouldn't I go at this coach? They're being paid $1 million in a public industry, and they're not doing a very good job. So I don't really care. I'm not paid by On3. I'm not paid by 24/7. I'm not in Matt Rule's. Matt Rule's not calling me up every single day like he is maybe some others beats. I'll tell you how it is. Like I will be unfiltered as much as possible. I'll give these coaches credit. I'm not going to be harsh just to be harsh. But when I told you a couple weeks ago that John Butler's not good enough, I meant it. When I told you that Terry Brady deserves to be fired, I meant it. Because this is a public business. And I don't care who these guys are. It's not personal. I'm sure they're all great in their personal lives. But if you aren't cutting it, this is the University of Nebraska. This is the University of Nebraska. We are a blue blood. At least we like to think so. And average ain't going to cut it. Average ain't going to cut it. So I'm gonna tell you like it is. I'm gonna tell how it is. And again, I expect more to happen. I expect more. And again, it might happen today. I think there will be some more announcements today. I'm actually surprised that they didn't announce it all in general. I thought it was going to be John Butler and blank and blank. I think they'd all announced at the same time. That actually kind of concerns me that they didn't announce all at the same time. But I do believe there will be some more who are fired. I do. Now, there might be some who are fired after the bowl game because for contract reasons, like if you wait until after the new year, you don't have to pay as big of a buyout. But that shouldn't be really an issue. The reason why they fired John Butler now and not after the bowl game is because we need to get this coaching hiring. We need to get this process going as soon as possible. Okay, we need to get this process going as soon as possible. If they wait until after the bowl game, there might be some top tier candidates who are gone, who are off the table now. But With firing him now, you're saying, okay, you know what? We're going to go on. We're starting this process now. But I do expect more to happen. I'm actually surprised. I'm watching Twitter, just making sure nothing happens while I'm live here. Because I kid you not, man. I was nervous. I was nervous because I'm going to school and I'm going to college, and it's finals week next week, and this week is a huge week for me. And I'm like, this is always the busiest week of the year. I told you guys yesterday, this is the busiest week of the year. There's gonna be guys who enter the portal. There's gonna be firings. And I was sitting there in class today. I was sitting in my my law class, and I was about to present some. And I checked my computer. John Butler's fired. My phone is getting absolutely spammed by all the subscribers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go out there and present. So that's why I was waiting to go on live with you guys. But hey, man, it's crazy. Just know my commitment. I'm skipping a class right now just to do this. Just do this live stream. Hopefully my professor isn't going to watch this and know I'm skipping class. All right, let's get into the comment section, guys. What do you guys have to say? That's my my rant. That's the reality. Again, I expect more to happen behind the scenes. And again, I think that we will yeah, I think we'll have more. How many credit hours you taking? I'm taking 18, my man. Taking 18. Yes, sir. Are we 100% sure more is going to happen? I'm pretty 100% sure. I would be appalled if more didn't happen. I would be appalled if there wasn't a change, particularly in our offensive line spot. I would be appalled. Because listen, again, it wasn't good enough. And Matt Rule said himself, like, we got to go all in next year. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Dude, don't skip class. Education important. I agree with you. I agree. I'm skipping a class that I have over 100% in, though. So I'm okay. If it was one of my hard classes, I want to skip. Trust me when I tell you that. Trust me when I tell you that. We ain't a blue blood anymore. I mean, wait, is this Smoke Buffs? Oh, he's a Nebraska fan. All right, let's see. Who do you guys want? Let me know that. If he was elite, why hire John Butler in the first place? Well, David, who are you referring to as elite? Matt Rule or John Butler? I think I'm assuming you're referring to Matt Rule. Matt Rule's not elite. Matt Rule's not elite. Matt Rule's not elite. So that's not the case. Do you think Devin Jackson flips from Oregon? We'll talk about tomorrow on the channel. I was going to talk about tomorrow on the channel, but now I'm going to have a defensive coordinator video tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the channel. Spoiler, I do not think so. I do not think so, but we'll make a video about it. What's the deal with Jacory, Barney? I'll make a video about it later today. It'll be a busy couple days on the channel. But spoiler alert as well, I do not think Jacory's leaving. Do not think Jacory's leaving. So do not think that's going to happen again. But there will be some big time players who leave. Trust me when I tell you that. Trust me when I tell you that. Stop saying Sue for defensive coordinator. He has no experience. Are people saying that? Are people saying, yeah, Sue? Okay. Well, let's get it out of the way. I agree with you. He should not. Ndamukong Suh is a great man. He was a great player. He is the greatest, and I mean greatest defensive lineman to ever play, not only in the history of Nebraska, but in the history of college football. But just because you're a good player doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good recruiter. And also with a guy like Suh is not somebody who's just a one-trick pony. He loves accounting. He loves finance. He loves stocks. He loves his children. He doesn't live in Nebraska. Why would he give up all that to be a defensive line coach or a defensive coordinator? Like, why would that ever happen? And that who's to say that's even a good hire? So, again, most of these coaches, the reason why they get into coaching is because they only love football. They don't have other interests. Like, Matt Rule maybe doesn't have other interests. John Butler maybe doesn't have other interests. They got into it because they're former players, and that was their way of life. But Ndamukong Suh, that's not his way of life. Right? He loved football, don't get me wrong, but he's going into a new stage of his life now, and I don't blame him for doing that. I don't blame him. I'm not going to ask a millionaire to come here and coach defensive line. So let's get in here. We should got rid of the D-line coach, not Butler. It's going to be a busy week. We might have more news. I don't think this will be the end. Trust me when I tell you that. I do not think this will be the end. I don't have an inside scoop though for Braden. I do a little bit for Donnie, but I don't have for Braden. I'm just hoping that Braden's gone. Matt Rule has other interests. His podcast. That's kind of funny. Hey, hopefully he addresses this on his podcast. Maybe he's a big episode coming out on Thursday. I'm gonna be tuning in. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna be tuning in. Fire Raiola, hire Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops for defensive coordinator. Mark Stoops is interesting. Let me look at his, because he just got fired. I mean, yeah, that's interesting, man. I'm going to put that down on my short list of candidates, and I'm going to research him a little bit more tonight. I mean, Mark Stoops is an older coach. Like, how old is Mark Stoops? He is was born in 67. So he's about 55. Well, he's not even as old as I thought he was going to be. Okay. I thought he was about like 65. Anyways, well, I mean, he might still coach, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Also, you can fire Butler now because you have Phil Snow stepping for the bowl game. Can you say that for O-line, D-line, OC? Well, again, first off, we're not firing Dana, so that's off the table. And yes, we have multiple people to step in to be our offensive line coach. It's not hard. It's not hard to find an interim offensive line coach for a bowl game. You're just gonna find a grad assistant to do it. Like it's not like we didn't have this top dollar person in our coaching staff to take over the offensive line for a month. Like, so that's not a real excuse. You could fire an offensive line coach now if you really wanted to. That's not what's holding us back from doing it. Yeah, that's not it. Who do we even go after right now? Like, who would come here? Well, to answer your first question, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, we have a long process to follow. But as for who would even come here, a lot of big time names would come here. I believe that. I believe a lot of people would come here. Like, well, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they come here? We're going to pay them top dollar. They're going to a historic program with great facilities, easy to recruit. I still think it's a good job. All this drama has to be good for your channel. It is, man. I mean, well, this is just college football, man. College football is drama 24/7, and that's why I love it, bro. That's why I love it. And this is the only channel. I mean, we're the only ones talking about this right now. No other channel's talking about it. And that should show you the work ethic of this channel. That should, I mean, if there's any reason to believe that we have the best family in Nebraska YouTube, we out here on a Monday. We out here on a Monday talking about it. You know, we go, and again, we're making multiple. We're gonna have a video come out later today about something else. We'll have a video come out tomorrow, and we gonna work hard. Justin Wilcox for DC. That's another good name. That's another really good name. Because he just got fired by Cal. Let me look at where, because he was one of the best DCs on the market before he went to Cal. That's an interesting one. I'm gonna note him down, but I think he'll go back to Oregon from what it's sounding like. That's a really good poll right there. Yeah, that's a good poll. That would be a top dollar hire. That'd be awesome. I would love just that. That's a good one. I respect you for that, Field of Brussels sprouts. That's a good one. Good poll, my man. Everybody drop a like for this man. Yes, sir. What are we at likewise, everybody? Let's get to I don't even know where we're at. I'm not gonna lie, I can't even check. Are we at 100? Are we at 200? Let's just hit. Okay, we're at 90. Let's go hit 150. We can hit our 150 real quick. Everybody hit that like button. If you're as happy about Matt Rhule making some tough changes, hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button, because I know I'm happy about it. Phil Snow is DC. He's DC for the bowl game. He's not going to be DC next year. Trust me when I tell you that. Andrew Jackson from West Virginia. Let me look him up. Again, there's just so many names, man. It's hard to keep up with all these guys. Andrew Jackson from West Virginia. Are you trolling me right now? He's not trolling me. There is an Andrew Jackson, West Virginia. Defensive assistant coach. Was he previously with Matt Rhule? Yeah, this guy seems like a random. I don't even know why you brought him up. I don't even know why. I saw Andrew Jackson. I'm like, the former president? The former president, Andrew Jackson? What are we doing here? Is Rhule a control freak? Oh, he is. I know that one for a fact. Wilson's run circles around the big dogs and going into college. I like to think we're the big dogs. I like to think we're the big dogs now. This ain't a small channel anymore, man. We're the big dogs. It's the way it is. Best family, man. How many of our secondary starters next year are on the roster right now? Probably one. Probably Marshall if you were to stay. Probably one. Again, but there's a lot of young guys in the secondary who are going to leave. Trust me when I tell you that. Satterfield for DC, trust me. Did you see Barney posting that? Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow, or we'll talk about it later today. Again, I don't believe either of those guys leaving from what I've talked about. Ryan Walters hard pass. Now, I mean, Ryan Walters, I don't even think would be that bad, but he's. I mean, let's look at Washington's results so far this year. because he's at Washington now as their DC. Let's look at how much. Like they played Oregon. They only gave up 26 points. They really never gave up more than like 40 points this season. They only gave up 24 points. So I say, I mean, Ryan Walters would be a heck of a hire. I'm not gonna lie. Ryan Walters did not give up more than 26 points this year. And he's young. He's energetic. He wants to be a head coach again. I don't think that's a bad hire. I don't think that's a bad hire. Now, granted, he's a former Buffalo. He's a former Colorado Buffalo. So that's kind of a hard pass. And he also doesn't like Nebraska. But if I told you guys, I don't want somebody with Nebraska connections. I wouldn't even be mad if we brought in somebody who didn't like Nebraska. Just give me somebody. Just give me somebody who knows what they're doing. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. How do we feel about Zach Ornette as defensive coordinator? Let me look him up here real quick. Defensive analyst for Florida State. Oh yeah, he was the Mississippi State coach. Yep. No, we're not going to hire him. I can guarantee that one right now. Nope, we're not going to get him. Pray for Coach Butler and his family. I agree with that. I agree. Like, it's a tough time. Again, I'm not going to be going at him. I'm not going to go at him personally. Like, John Butler was not a good coordinator, but John Butler, I think was a decent man. So I'm going to give him props, and I'm also going to wish him the best of luck in his next choice. Phil Parker, no. Phil Parker hates us, man. Phil Parker hates us. Brent Pry, no. I don't think Brent Pry. We're going to land him. Top 3 things I'm looking for: trenches. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, I wouldn't mind with a coach who has D-line background. That's what I would like. That's a good point. Putting that again. You guys are giving me some good ideas here for my video tomorrow. But yeah, I don't want a former secondary coach. I would prefer somebody who has experience with the defensive line, because that's how you win the Big Ten. You need a solid defensive line. So not only do we need a brand new defensive line coach, we need somebody with that background of coaching the defensive line, knowing how to scheme up that unit. Yeah, that's a good pull. That's a good point. I agree with that very much. Jim Leonard. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Everybody's gonna bring him up. I just don't even know if that's very, very realistic. Hire Mekhi Joseph. He's an offensive coach, my man. That new 5-star corner, he's still going to come without Butler. Yeah, I tell you guys, they do not care. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. These recruits do not care about John Butler leaving. They don't. They do not. The recruits don't care. I don't even know if the players care. We're gonna have some players who leave in the portal, but I don't know if it's because of him. They're just going to leave because they're already going to leave because of other reasons. But I'm honestly surprised nobody's entered the portal. What the heck? A rapper just committed to Syracuse. What just happened? That's hilarious. Yeah, Phil Snow, defensive coordinator for the bowl game. By the way, I don't know if you guys have already known this, but we're cooked. We're cooked in the bowl game. It doesn't even matter who we play. If we play the Nashville Bowl or Las Vegas Bowl, we play Missouri. Who are the other ones? Tennessee going on right now. LSU. We play Utah, Las Vegas Bowl. It doesn't matter who we play in the bowl game. We are cooked, as the kids say. We are cooked. We will lose that bowl game, especially if Emmett doesn't play, which is it's leaning that way as well. So yeah. Oh man, we're gonna go 7-6 this year. 7-6 is an ugly record too, man. It's like basically barely above 500. Gosh, man. Yeah, I mean Phil Snow's not gonna lead us to anything. And then you already know too, though, if we were to somehow win that bowl game, and if our defense play like relatively well, people are gonna be like, "Oh, we should hire Phil Snow." We should not hire Phil Snow, because even John Butler looked good in the bowl game last year. The bowl game is just so unpredictable because you don't know who's gonna play the bowl game for us or for the other team. There might be a million opt-outs. You know, like Boston College was without their best tackle last year, their quarterback, a couple other players for injury, and everybody was like, "Oh, John Butler's a legendary because we beat Boston College." Well, Boston College has won one game this year. And so if we beat a team who only won one game this year, and we almost lost them, that says a lot. That says a lot, man. It says a lot. The other team will have opt-outs too. Again, yeah, they will, but again, I have no confidence in this team, depending on who we play. We'll see, though. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Who do you think are the best candidates for O-line coach? we'll talk about if and when it happens. If and when, my man. I'm hoping it happens, and I think it will. But again, Dylan's future is very uncertain, at this point. And even though, again, that Raiola family just don't know how they're moving, man. You don't know how they're moving. They might say, you know what, Dylan kind of wants to come back, but we give them, you have to keep Donnie no matter what. You cannot get rid of Donnie. If you do, Dylan will enter the portal. I mean, you just know there are so many things going on with this Raiola situation behind the scenes. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to continue to do updates on it because it's so unpredictable right now. Like, Dylan could come back, Dylan could leave. That could impact Donnie, right? And that's a tough thing. And I although I'm happy Matt Rule made this a tough decision, I think if Matt Rule had a chance to keep Dylan, if Matt Rule has his choice, Matt Rule's going to keep Dylan every single day of the week, and he's going to do whatever it takes to keep Dylan here. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but such an unpredictable situation. How about Brad White out of Kentucky? Was he their defensive coordinator just now? And Stoops got fired? Is that who he is? Yes, he is their defensive coordinator. I would say hard pass. Because they gave up 41 points to Louisville, 45 to Vandy. They gave up 56 to Tennessee. Hard pass. Of all the guys, that is a hard pass right there, my man. That's a hard pass. That is a hard pass. Yeah. Emmett playing the bowl game. We'll talk about it. I got some videos later this week. We'll talk about it. Jamari Butler legacy game. If we play him, that'd be great. And that's a guy he should not have left, bro. He should not have left. That was a bad decision. He would have been so good if he stayed here. I still believe if he were to stay here, he would have been a 6 or 7 sack guy. But he left because he wanted to get paid. It is what it is. He made a bad decision. I don't think we need to get rid of Donovan at all. He's a good recruiter. I mean, to be fair though, that's the bare minimum. You're supposed to be a good recruiter as a positional coach. Now, I told you guys this, like if it was a wide receiver coach, if we had a wide receiver coach who was a terrible developer, but he could recruit, I'd keep that receiver coach. I would, because that's a different position. But offensive line is completely different. Mostly positional coaches, recruiting's more important than development. But for offensive line and defensive line, development's more important because it takes time. There are very few recruits who come into a college football program and on the offensive line and play right away. Very few. If you're a wide receiver and a 4-star, you could easily play right away. So the offensive line development rules, and if you can't develop, you can't do much. So that's why Donnie should go. Now again, will Matt Rule make that tough decision depending on Dylan's future? I don't know, man. Again, we'll see. We will see, man. We'll see. And with the conversation I've had with people in the locker room, they don't expect Dylan to come back. But let me make this very clear: nobody knows. I don't even know if Dylan knows if he's going to come back. He's being tampered with. We know that, but I don't think he's made up his mind. And again, the locker room does not know. They kind of have like an inference, but I don't even know if Matt Rule knows. We'll see, and it's something that we'll follow very closely over these next couple of days because I do believe if Dylan were to enter the portal, it would be this week because you want to enter the portal as soon as possible to get those bidders going, to let people know, hey, I'm now in the portal. You got to start bidding. You got to start offering money. But again, a lot can happen. Like that's why I try not to speak in like ultimatums. I try not to speak in things are confirmed, right? Because again, this sport is so unpredictable. This sport, things happen, out of the blue. Things we think are going to happen end up don't happening. We know how college football works. So that's why I try not to say like, oh, Dylan's confirmed gone 100%. I try not to say Donovan's confirmed gone 100%. I said it's likely, it's leading to that. The sources are saying that. But you just never know because, college football is unpredictable, and we know one thing for a fact: Nebraska's unpredictable. Nebraska's incredibly unpredictable. So that's what it is. Jim Knowles, yeah, that's what I bring up. I would love Jim Knowles, even though he's not young, even though the best of the best might be behind him. I want Jim Knowles because results speak for themselves, man. They speak for themselves. And he's a heck of a defensive coordinator, and he just won a national championship, for crying out loud. He just won a natty. Tim Becca's OC, yeah, no. We're not. Dana's not leaving, so that's not happening. That ain't happening. How does LSU landing Kiffin affect those recruits, especially that tight end? Again, we'll talk about tomorrow on the channel, but it doesn't affect it good. I'll say that. Lane Kiffin's a heck of a recruiter. You can say a lot about Lane Kiffin. He's a heck of a recruiter. And I'll tell you what, Ahmad Hudson loved that hire. I don't feel bad for these guys. They get paid fortunes to be failures. Exactly. And that's why, again, people go at me. They said, Wilson, you shouldn't be so harsh toward these coaches. Again, these coaches got into this profession to get paid millions, to be millionaires. And again, this is not the hardest job in the world. It just isn't. Okay. There are real jobs out there where lives are on the line. Lives are not on the line when it comes to football. Football is a game. Football is a game. You are paid to coach a game. So you deserve, when you're good, you deserve the public praise. You deserve the accolades. But when you are bad, don't get mad at people calling you out for it. And that's why I try to be honest on this channel as much as possible. I will call out these coaches if they're not doing well. Am I a future coach? And the people say, Wilson, you should be a coach then if you're so smart. I'm not a coach. I'm not going to be a coach. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out these coaches ain't doing a good job. They're not doing a bang up job over here. Don't take a genius. It doesn't take a former player to say that. It doesn't take, a journalist to say that. Anybody with two eyes can tell the defense was pretty I don't want to say what I want to say. It's pretty garbage this year. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Welcome back, Tony White. No. If Rule fired Butler, who says he won't fire Holgorsen? I say he won't. Take my word for it. And again, I agree with your point. Like, arguably, and I told you guys this at the start of the stream, like, the offense was worse than the defense this year. But again, trust me when I tell you this, Dana's here. Okay, trust me when I tell you that. Dana's here. I will. I don't speak in ultimatums. I just told you that, but I will on this one. 100% Dana's here. You can take that one to the bank. First person I call is Jim Leonard. Again, that's going to be a very popular name. What's he doing right now? Last I checked, he was with the Broncos. Is he still with the Broncos? Let's see. Yeah, he's with the Broncos as a defensive pass game coordinator, and he's killing it with the Broncos, bro. He's killing it. Yeah, I would hire him easily. But Jim Leonard, from what I've heard, he's very happy with his life now in Colorado. He has a family he's raising. He's not all about rising through the ranks, but again, money talks, bro. Money talks. You never know. You never know, man. You never know, my man. Welcome back, T-Knight. No. He burns the bridge on the way out. Roll needs to stay out of Dana's way and let him do what he can do. I agree with that. I think Rule got too involved in the offense. Like, we got to go all in. Like, we're done with Marcus Satterfield's offense. We're done with the Matt Rule offense. Like, let Dana Holgorsen install his entire air raid offense. If that's what he wants to do, let him do it. Okay? Don't say, well, we only made tweaks. No, go all in. Go all in. Go all in. Okay, Matt Rule should not have a say over this offense. Like, he should be able to advise, but when push comes to shove, the person who's making the decision should be Dana. Because Matt Rule says all the time, well, Dana's kind of like a co-head coach. Well, treat him like that then. Because Matt Rule's history of coaching offense is not good. Matt Rule's history of defense is very good, but with offense, it's not. It's not. If he fired Butler, who says he won't fire Donovan? I think he will fire Donovan. I do. I think it's more likely than not he will. Again, he is pissed off. Matt Rule is pissed off with this season. And I think he knew right at the Iowa game, like, that was not acceptable. We gotta make some change. Serious change. Will E-Money stay for another year? No. No, he will not. Nor should he. Offense was not as bad as defense, so firing Dana wouldn't make any sense. That's not the case, though. That's not the case. The offense was worse. I mean, again, both were pretty bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the defense was hell on wheels, according to Matt Rule. I'm not saying that, but what did the offense do this year? 16 points versus Iowa. What did we put up? Like 10 points. We put up like 10 points versus Penn State. Put up 6 points versus Minnesota. What did the offense do this year? Even with Dylan, like, people say, well, Dana was handicapped because we had a backup quarterback out there. Okay, let's scratch the final 3 games. What did we do even when Dylan was out there? We had no vertical passing attack. We went into the season with a full-on air raid, and going into October, we literally had to pivot because we're like, the air raid's not working. These receivers are terrible. We have to go full-on Emmett. Emmett carried the offense on his back. We barely beat all these teams. We put up like 28 versus Northwestern. We should have put up 40 against those guys. We had red zone issues. We had third down issues. So again, I'm not saying the defense was good, but the offense was worse. It was worse. The offense was a bigger problem than the defense. Both were problems. When you lose those final 3 games in that fashion, or we didn't lose UCLA, but you lose those final 2 games in that fashion, it's not just one group. It's not just one side of the football. It's both. It's both. But they ain't come back. Do you think we might promote Ekeler? No, and nor should we. Nor should we. Ekeler is a really good special teams coordinator. I want him to be our special teams coordinator. What do you think about getting Lenore Sellers in the portal? Did he enter the portal? Or is that just like you're just saying maybe we'll get him? I've heard some rumors he might enter the portal. Is that official? Let me check. I mean, it's going to be a crazy day, guys. It's going to be a crazy day. The Lenore Sellers, I don't think he entered. I think you're just, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be a big fan. But again, that all depends on if we get rid of Dylan or Dylan leaves. And I shouldn't say get rid of Dylan. We're not going to get rid of Dylan, but if Dylan were to leave. Is Bryce Underwood on potential bust territory? I think he is. I mean, he was terrible. He was terrible all season long, really. He was terrible against us. Oh, here we go. Got a hater. Here we go. 1 minute you say Rule is a fraud. The next minute you say go Matt Rule. Diabolical for sure. Again, it's these type of comments I don't understand. Like, of course I was mad at Matt Rule when we lost to Iowa. He's responsible. But again, I can be mad at Matt Rule. And I can also say go Matt Rule at the end of the videos because I still support Matt Rule. Although I'm mad at Matt Rule, and although maybe I don't believe Matt Rule is the coach he was propped up to be, I'm still going to root like heck for him, and I'm still going to be in his corner. So I don't know what you're doing. I know you think you're a genius with this comedy. You think you're some intellectual. Like, oh, you're contradicting yourself. Like, just because I said Matt Rule is a fraud, first off, I'm not wrong. And second off, it doesn't mean I'm not rooting for him. So it's crazy. Let's see. Sam Levitt in Nebraska. No, he'll go to some big time program. Any other news coming today? I think there will be. I think I couldn't tell you what. I couldn't. I mean, I have a hunch. But again, it was this way last year. I remember last year, literally to the day. It was Monday after our final game of the season against Iowa, and I remember I posted 7 videos. It was last year, December 2nd. This year's December 1st. So I told you guys, like, Monday's gonna be crazy. It always is. This is the biggest day of the year. Feels like. Does this mean Terry's gone? I don't think it means anything about Terry. I would still infer that Terry's gone, but I don't think it means one way or another. If you have a short list, Wilson, who are we thinking? Who are you thinking to be a defense coordinator? We'll talk about tomorrow. Again, I have some names right now that I'm thinking about, but again, these are just names. Tomorrow, tonight I'm going to research these guys. I'm going to look at their history, their track record, their experience, and I'm going to come up with 5. I think 5 or 6 candidates that we could potentially hire, and that'll be my 8 o'clock video tomorrow. That'll be out early tomorrow morning. So best believe that. Best believe that. Will TJ even stay if Dylan leaves? Yeah, TJ will stay. Did any other big names enter the portal? Not from what I've seen. Again, I think we'll see some later this week. It takes kind of one big name to really start things, to get things going. But we'll see some later this week, and we'll see some big time guys. We'll see some big time guys enter the portal. And I think that's kind of when Dylan might enter. Are they thinking of poaching somebody, Wilson? I want to poach somebody, 100%. I do not want somebody who's coming off being fired. I do not want somebody who's a former head coach just got fired. I mean, maybe if he's a really good defensive coordinator, like a Justin Wilcox wouldn't be terrible, but ideally not a fired guy. I would love to say, no, you have a good defensive coordinator over there. West Virginia, you have a good defensive coordinator over there. Fill in the blank. We're gonna take him. We're gonna pay him top dollar. That's what I want. And also, again, somebody's a great recruiter. Colin Hitchler at JMU, he's gonna follow his coach at UCLA. I can tell you that one. Or he might take the JMU job. The JMU, he would probably rather be the JMU head coach than DC in Nebraska. JMU's a really good job. That is a really, really good job. Does this moment feel like Scott Frost's efforts before he was fired the following year? Yeah, a little bit. I think that's a really good comparison, to be honest with you. Because, again, we talked about at the start of the stream, this will be Matt Rule's most important hire of his tenure. It will be. Okay, if Matt Rule screws this up, he will be fired. That might sound harsh, but he will be, because, again, there's a lot of pressure next year. But if Matt Rule makes a home run hire, it could save his tenure, man. It could. It could save his tenure. But I agree with you. Again, when Scott Frost was firing all these dudes, he was firing Lubick. and he fired I forgot the quarterback coach for Desco right now. He fired everybody. Shenander, like that was desperation. That was desperation. It feels a little bit like desperation here. Feels a little bit like desperation. Grant Olson, I don't think that's a realistic. And now that's a big jump as well. That's a huge jump. Who's going to start running back? Assuming Emmett's gone, I think it's going to be Mekhi. Assuming. How about Will Muschamp? No. Would Jim Ludhart be a good potential fit at DC? I mean, he'd be a good fit. It's just, again, it's Nebraska's not the only school calling him, though. And again, he loves his life in Colorado. So who's to say he wants to give that up? Like, he has a pretty sweet gig with the Broncos. Jim Leonard's not that type of guy who just wants to rise the ranks really quickly. Like, he's raising a family. He's a family man. And again, you better believe that other schools are calling him. Maybe schools that are better than Nebraska. So I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility you land it, but you got to come correct. You got to start offering him and everything. $2-3 million. We're going to buy you a mansion. We're going to make sure your kids go to a great school. I mean, that's partly why we got Matt Rule. I mean, Matt Rule's kids go to school in Omaha. Matt Rule's kids don't go to Lincoln. Or his son does. His son goes to the university. But his daughters go to Omaha because when we were hiring Matt Rule, part of the thing, Matt Rule wanted his kids to have security, to go to good schools. And he's like, well, are there even good schools in Nebraska? And the Nebraska administration sat down with Matt Rule and they said, well, Matt, I'm going to be real with you. There's really no good schools in Lincoln, but there's a couple of good schools in Omaha, some private, elementary schools, private middle schools. And Matt Rule's like, okay, I'm sold. So, I mean, that's kind of the pitch we got to give Jim Leonard because he's a family man. He a family man. He's a family man. Carl Pelini, good hire because he loves the snow. Dude, what is Carl Pelini even doing nowadays? Is he even coaching anymore? Yeah, no, he's not even in coaching. He was a high school coach. He was a high school coach, man. Carl Pelini. That was so bad. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing through it all. We've had some bad hires over the year. Hit that like button. Absolutely, Dave. What are we at likewise? What are we at? I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how many likes we're at. Everybody hit the like button. I don't know where we're at. We're almost at 200. Let's hit 200 likes on the stream, everybody. Also, this is a time if you guys are not subscribed. If you're someone watching this, you're not subscribed. What are you waiting for? Again, this is just the calm before the storm. You think this is big? This is nothing. December's going to be crazy. It's always the craziest month of the year, guys. So, listen, man. If you're not subscribed, be a part of this family. Hit that subscribe button, join the family. What are we at right now? We're almost at 15K. I think we'll hit 15K this week, guys. I think we'll hit it. That's a big milestone. We work harder than anybody else out there. At least we try to. Grant Wistrom lives in Lincoln. No. Let me tell you right now, no. All right, Wilson, what's the current status of Dylan? What I told you guys on Saturday is the last I know. Again, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you could argue Dylan might want to come back now after the Iowa game. Again, I know he's been tampered with. I can tell you that for a fact. But again, I'm trying not to speak in ultimatums toward Dylan because, again, this sport is unpredictable. College football is unpredictable. Nebraska is unpredictable. Just because Dylan is being tampered with, just because maybe right now he wants to leave, you never know if it actually turns out to be that way. I could see everything happen. I could see Dylan announce he's staying. I could see Dylan enter the portal, get interest, and come back. I could see Dylan leave tomorrow. So it is a crazy, crazy situation, and that's exactly what you should expect being a Nebraska fan. Is Dane 26 or 27 class? He is 26. He's 26. Pat Fitzgerald to Michigan State. That's a heck of a hire. Heck of a hire. Why fire the DC before the D-line and O-line coach? Because we need to get the DC coaching search on right now. That's why. Like, they might, fire the offensive line coach after the bowl game. They might fire the D-line coach after the bowl game because that's not as big of a tedious process to find those type of coaches. But with the DC, you need to find your guy now because if we wait till after the bowl game to fire John Butler, there's some big time names who are probably off the table. So they need to get this going. And now that they're starting the process. And this is going to be what we talk about for the next 2 weeks is who we hire, man. I wouldn't have it any other way, man. I'm just worried. My biggest worry is that I'm going to be sitting here in a week and I'm going to be taking my accounting exam at 8 o'clock in the morning. And there's going to be some breaking news going on. And I'm going to be sitting there filling in my multiple choice questions and my accounting exam. That's all I'm worried about, man. Dude, doing a YouTube channel, doing 2 videos a day is not for the weak, man. During final season, I can do it in August during final season. And it's nuts. I love it though. I love it though. It teaches me time management. That's what it does. I think Mozee is better in between the tackles than Nelson. I actually disagree with that completely. I think Mozee definitely is because Mozee's never really been a running back before. He's better. He's better outside the tackles. He's better through the C gap. He's better juking out maybe a defender. He's better in the pass pro. He's better in catching the football. But I think when it comes to actually going through the A gap, B gap, Mekhi Nelson is 100% better. I don't even think it's particularly close. So I disagree with that. Now you could argue that Mozee's the better overall running back. You might be correct there. But as for in between tackles, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Is second or third round pick reaching for Emmett or 5 or 7 round pick for Singleton? I'm thinking. I agree with your latter. I think 4th round for Emmett. Honestly, I think 4th round. What are the odds of going to a 4-man front for defense now? I would say very high. Very high. They're not going to run the 3-3-5 anymore. I was shocked they ran the 3-3-5 this year. I was shocked because that was part of the reason we moved on from Tony White. Like, it was kind of a mutual parting. We kind of knew it was going to happen ahead of time. That's why we hired John Butler in the summer, because the plan the entire time was to, have John Butler take over after Tony White inevitably left. But I thought the whole plan was they're going to go to the 4-3 because that's what Matt Rose always ran. But I didn't end up doing that. David, thank you for the super chat. You guys want to kind of instantly put in a super chat? My man David, go over to sub to my guy, Best in Omaha. He says, appreciate your work ethic. Don't miss any more classes. I will not, man. I gotta go talk to my professor after this and tell him, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed class. Mekhi Frazier enters the portal. We'll talk about him later today. Trust me, we'll talk about him later today. Yes, should let the DC have at least some input on assistance. That's why you need a DC first. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we hire our DC, he's probably going to say, you know what, Terry Brain's got to go. And I respect him if he does that. I respect him a lot. I'm worried. I don't know. I'm hoping Aston Williams doesn't leave, though. We got to keep Aston Williams no matter what. Emmett to the Vikings gave him a 3rd round draft grade. How do you know that grade? Did I tell you that grade? How do you know that? That's some inside info. You shouldn't know that. Oh, it's probably because I think I told somebody about that and they leaked it. Probably. I can't tell people anything, man. I get one good piece of information and people spread that around. It wasn't that, okay. It wasn't that big. It wasn't that big of a deal, but still. I imagine Phil Snow is DC. Yeah, it's not happening, man. It's not happening. Addison Williams need a pay bump. Yeah, I think Addison Williams is gone. I do. I think he'll get a good job somewhere else. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he leave? He might get a defensive coordinator job. You sound like, oh, I did. Okay, never mind. if I said on live, then never mind. Okay, never mind. I'm tripping. Let's see. Do you think top paying schools are skittish on Dylan because he has helicopter daddy? I don't think that impacts anything. I don't think that impacts anything. I'm not gonna lie. I think that impacts nothing. I'm checking my text messages right now. Some interesting people are texting me about what's going on right now. I'm just gonna see if they're. Oh! Okay, not Nebraska news. But we just found our next star receiver, folks. Nick Marsh enters the transfer portal out of Michigan State. Hey, that's not Nebraska news, but hold on. That's awesome. Hold on, let me text somebody about that. That's pretty crazy. Andrew Marsh, welcome home. I was talking about Andrew Marsh a couple of months ago. And I said, this guy's going to enter the portal. You better believe Nebraska will get involved. You better believe that. Heck yeah, man. Snow just announced his DC for the bowl. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's not. Doesn't mean much. We'll lose the bowl game anyways. I don't know if it'll mean anything really. Emmett Johnson's a solid second rounder. I don't think so. He's Emmett. The problem with Emmett is not going to test well. That's his issue. Like production really doesn't matter, unfortunately. He's just not going to test well. When push comes to shove, it comes down to your 40 time. It comes down to how young you are, and his 40 time is not going to be good, and he's not that young. So I love Emmett, and it's unfair, but I think he's going to be a fourth rounder really. And that's going to be good enough to leave, but yeah. Are we going to play LSU? It's leaning toward that. I mean, there's a lot of rumors right now about Vegas too. I think it's either going to be Nebraska or LSU, or we do end up going to Vegas and Utah. That's really what it's looking towards. I think it's really one of those two matchups. It just depends on whether or not Vegas picks us over Iowa. Because again, basically the way it works, the way it will go is Orlando picks, they're not going to pick us. Tampa picks, don't think they're going to pick us, or Iowa. And then it goes Vegas. And I believe Vegas will pick Iowa over us. But there's some rumors maybe Vegas picks Nebraska. We don't know. But I still, my gut tells me it's going to be Nashville. That's what my gut says. That's what my gut says. It's going to be Nashville LSU. That's my gut. But you never know. Again, unpredictable sport. And we'll run a 4-4 or 4-3-8. No, no. From who I talked to, it's gonna be probably I'd say 4-6 for Emmett. It's gonna not be a great 40 time. Maybe he got ran down versus Iowa, and Emmett's a great running back, but he's just not speedy. He's not a speed back. He's never has been. He never has been. What is the next defensive coordinator? Sorry if I already asked, or sorry if somebody already asked. Thank you for the super chat, man. Again, we'll talk about it. We do not know. It's gonna be a crazy couple weeks, man. But we'll have a video tomorrow going over the top candidates for sure. For sure. I'm saying Arizona stay in the bowl game. I think it's going to be Utah. I think Vegas would rather have Utah or Arizona State. I could see Arizona State though. I could see them. If we were to go to Vegas though, that's only if we were to go to Vegas. I think more likely not, it still will be Nashville. Wilson, your thoughts on why Nebraska football is lacking toughness? Well, it starts with John Butler, honestly. Because you want to know what's funny, and this is why we do the Nugget episodes. This is why we do our our fall videos. We do our spring videos. This is why we cover Nebraska football 24/7. What did I tell you? What was the number one takeaway from spring ball? We didn't tackle very well, and our line was not very good. What did I tell you was the number one nugget in fall ball? We still didn't tackle very well up until a week before the game, and our offensive line wasn't very good. Our defensive line was very good, despite what Matt Rhule was saying. And it turned out to be the case, and that's because of John Butler. I mean, our tackling's garbage, bro. Because we barely tackle practice to begin with. I mean, that we barely get in pads. So I get why they do it because you don't want to have injuries, but still. Brian Hartline to Kentucky. That's what they're saying. That'd be a heck of a hire, dude. Be a heck of a hire. Get rid of Shorts? No. Nikhil Shorts is a good coach. I mean, the receivers weren't great this year, but I'm willing to give him time because I do believe he's a great developer. Or excuse me, I believe he's a great recruiter. And also, I told you guys I'd rather have a better recruiter than a developer, a wide receiver coach. And also, again, he's super young, energetic, up and comer. Like if we get rid of him, he'd go somewhere else and be a wide receiver coach. And he did good at Kentucky, so his track record speaks for itself. I'm more willing to give some of these guys time if they have a good track record. The problem with Butler is he did not have a good track record. The thing about Braden is that he does not have a good track record. So that's why I'm easy to say these guys got to go. Mike Eckler is the only elite coach on the staff. Yeah, man. But again, we should not upgrade anything. People are going to say defensive coordinator, this, that, and the third. No, again, he's a good special teams coordinator. He's meant to be a special teams coordinator. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. Again, reminder, everybody, hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 14,900. We're getting there. We're so close. We're getting there, everybody. Everybody, hit the subscribe button. I know. I can see you. If you're watching this, you're not subscribed. Let's hit that subscribe button. We got best family here on Husker YouTube, and it's only heating up. It's only about to heat up, folks. Rhule can't trust TJ with his job. Yeah, again, think and this is from the conversations I've had, if Dylan were to leave, we will bring in a transfer. I do believe that's more a likely outcome. A very likely outcome. Do players even like Rule? They do. They love Rule. All of them do. They're like very few don't like Rule. There are some, but usually the players who don't like Rule are bums. Like I say that harsh, but usually the players who don't like Matt Rule are the guys who aren't playing. Unfortunately, you know. When is Buffett gonna pony up, pay some money? He gave that to Crane right now, man. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Wilson, would you be open to bring a guy back like Princewell? Princewell might go to the draft, dude. He was that good. He was that good. He might go to the draft. And no, he's not coming back. That bridge is burnt. That bridge is burnt. Are we supposed to have grass next season? Yeah, we are. And we will. We will have grass next year. Yep. All right, guys. Put in your final stuff. Oh, hold on. Willis McGahee confirmed to enter. That's not true. You're trolling me. Why are you guys trolling me, Matt? Okay, that's not true. That unless hold on, let me look this up. I mean, I want to be shocked, but yeah, that's not out there. Don't troll me. Come on. I got to get you guys. If that were to happen, I'd have to record a video. So I'm jumping to that. Worst case scenario, Addison Williams, DC. Yeah, I mean, he's a candidate for sure. We'll talk about him tomorrow. He's a candidate. He will interview for the job. You better believe that. You better believe that. What running backs will Nebraska target in the portal? There's already a couple in there. We'll talk. I'll record a video. I think it'll come out probably 4:00 today. We'll talk about some that I have my eyes out for. But there's two in particular who I really think we could get involved with. Just got here, my man Dallas. Good to hear from you. He says, "What did I miss other than Butler firing?" We talked about a lot, man. I don't even know. You got to rewind the stream. We talked about a lot. Need Husker script logo in the middle when switching to grass? Nah, we got to stick with the end. Was confirmed our NL's increased? It is. We will. I expect us to pay probably $20 million in the portal, and that's off new players. New players alone about $20 million. It's gonna be crazy. Ain't gonna be crazy. All right, folks. Put in your final stuff in the comment section. We still got a lot of people in here, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm hungry. I have not ate food in like 24 hours, so I gotta go get some food. And I got to go record some videos tonight, man. I can tell you, it's going to be busy. I got to go do some homework. So put in your final stuff. We'll go for probably 10 more minutes at the most before my dining hall closes. Again, appreciate you guys as always. Let's see, what are we at again? Let's get up to 15,000. We're getting so close. We're getting so close to 50,000. Big milestone. All right, let's get back in here real quick. Mekhi Frazier, that is one. When is Donnie getting fired? I think it'll happen soon. I really do. Jim Leonard or bust? I agree. Get top dollar. Are we bringing Quan Lacey? No. Are any of our backs even good enough to start next year? I would say no. Huskers need to lean into the black shirt logo. We already kind of have. It would have been cool if we had that midfield for the blackout game. That would be kind of cool. Donovan getting fired next, probably. But again, we never know. You never know, man. You just never know. How do we feel about the head coach that got canned from Cal? Yeah, Justin Wilcox. I think he's a real candidate. Vincent says, I happened to watch your video for the Iowa game. You called Rule a hoax, but today you're applauding him for firing Butler. Please explain. Do you support Rule or no? Again, what is this comment? I can be critical of a coach and also say, hey, you made a really good decision. Like, it's people are so emotional. They're like, you're either all in or you're all out. Like, no, that's what's wrong with the Nebraska media nowadays. Okay, you can hold coaches accountable and still root for them and still acknowledge when they made good decisions. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I believe Matt Rule is an average coach. Don't think that's a hot take, but I'm going to applaud him when he does something like this. I'm going to applaud him if he makes a good hire. We just need more honesty all around, man. We need more honesty all around. What happens if we waste money on busts again? Then we're screwed. Well, what do you think? What do you think I'm going to say? That we're going to win? No, if we get busts, we're going to lose. So Matt Rule better get in the talent evaluation team. I mean, that's what they're doing right now. They're going to be focusing on our who we're hiring for defense coordinator and get into the portal already. Focus on guys we already have an idea who's going to be the portal. You got to find guys who are productive and for a fact that are going to be worth the money you spend on them. Can you imagine putting a Blackshear logo? Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be great. Wilcox should be home run. I agree. That'd be awesome. Be a sick hire. Be a sick hire. All right, guys. I gotta go eat. See, my grandma's in here. My grandma's in here saying, "Go eat." I will eat. I will eat. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. All right. What am I gonna say? We'll have a video in about probably, I'd say 2 hours. I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna come back, record a video. We're gonna talk about some other news going on right now that people want questions about or have questions about. And then tomorrow morning, and again, if there's any more breaking news today, I'll be here for that. I'll be here. And then tomorrow morning we'll have who our top candidates are. The 5 or 6 guys that I really believe that we're going to go after. And then we'll keep it status quo. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's going, again, trust me, it's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a busy week. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you in about 2 hours, and then we'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be a busy week. So again, just make sure, I usually don't shout this out, but make sure you have notifications on. So again, go to your subscription. I'm assuming all you guys are subscribed, and make sure that right by you have the bell notification and it says notification. So you know that when I post, when there's breaking news like this, you can be informed right off the very get-go. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section right after I end this live stream. Go Big Red, go Met Rule, and I'll see you later this week. It's going to be a busy, busy week. You better believe that. Have a good one, guys.